Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. If you're on the best coast, that's the East Coast. If you're on that other coast, the West Coast, whatever, good morning. This is Paper Route. We made it to the end of the week, everybody. Well, the end of our week, a long weekend ahead of us. Labor Day, the end of summer. But if you're in Miami, it's never quite the end of summer, and that's exactly where we are. I'm Ashley Nicole Moss. I got Brandon Marshall with me. We got Woo out west. We got BC in the back. We got our entire social team holding it down for us all over the country, in the West Coast, in Dallas. Oh, no, Austin, Texas, right? Is it Texas? Is that? We're Shelly? Yeah, so Shelly, Jazz, JP, all of them holding it down.
Where's Austin, Texas at?
Oh, you don't know where Austin, Texas? It's in Texas.
I've never been to Austin. I've never been to Austin. I heard it's beautiful.
No, Austin, I've never been either, but I've heard it's a very cool city. It's very like up and coming, young.
Right.
There's a lot of tech that's actually happening in Austin. Okay. They call it the Silicon Valley of the South.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tech companies and stuff down there.
What's the big festival they have there?
South by Southwest.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, we have a really cool show for you guys today. A lot of news of the day. We're going to talk a little bit about Joe Montana saying Dan Marino is the GOAT. We were just watching him on the TV in the studio. We're also going to talk some NBA news. The Colts GM made a very interesting statement regarding the situation with Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. We'll dive into that. And Joe Burr is back.
Joe B.
He made an appearance yesterday at Bengals camp. Which is a good sign for Bengals fans, for NFL fans, that Joey B should be locked and loaded and ready to go for week 1, which I'm sure everybody's very, very excited about. But we're going to dive into news of the day. And first and foremost, shout out to the Nebraska women's volleyball team. They actually set a world record last night for the most fans at a sporting event.
This was insane.
Over 92,000 people came to watch the women's volleyball team compete in the stadium where the football team plays. It was absolutely incredible. The 5-time NCAA champion Nebraska Huskers volleyball team. They watched them take on Omaha. But this is an absolutely incredible moment for sports, but specifically women's sports, because there's a lot of conversation about whether or not women's sports can bring out the crowds, if it's profitable, do people care, are people going to watch? And 92,000 came to watch. So.
Listen, next year I'm going. I'm taking my little girl.
Yeah.
Ziggy's 8 years old. Ziggy just started playing volleyball. And it's amazing to see her just develop and grow so fast. Tuesday we went to practice, and she was hitting balls like the net's behind her, her back's to the net, hitting it over. And I think she's really going to enjoy this. A few things that I want to note here, right? Like, obviously, this was a record for women's sports, but they're obviously it's a record for them as a volleyball program. Their biggest attendance before this was 17,000. They've been working on this event for 7 months. Tickets went on sale in April, and within 3 days they sold 82,000. So this is a big deal. There was 4 teams in the state that all came together to play, and it just shows the power of sports, and it shows how awesome women's sports can be if we're creative. Like, we talk about
not just
equality.
Creative, but if you're supportive.
Well, I would say this. I push back there a little bit. I'm not gonna go all the way Draymond Green, but if you put a men's volleyball game out there and a women's volleyball game out there, right? Not naturally, but more people gravitate to the men's. Is going to gravitate to the men's game. And so for us to get it, 100%.
Men's volleyball over women's volleyball?
Well, we can do men's golf, women's golf, men's basketball, women's basketball. The numbers show that obviously there's more people supporting and engaging our male athletes and our male sports, right? Men's sports. And to bridge that gap, we can go out here all we want and say, support. Well, I don't know if that's going to bridge the gap, but what will bridge the gap is being creative. They were creative. They worked on this event for 7 months, and you saw the outcome. And once you do that and you get more eyeballs on the game and people are like, oh, this is dope, then you're going to actually grow your viewership and your audience. So maybe, 20,000 of this 90,000 will continue to support volleyball in this region or hopefully national.
Well, I'm extremely excited about this. This was very cool. As somebody who played volleyball, throughout her life, this was extremely dope. I wish I had the opportunity when I was playing in school to play in front of a crowd this massive. It would have been super cool. It just would have been so exhilarating. But just an incredible moment for women's sports, for the Nebraska Huskers, just overall. Support women's sports, keep supporting, keep watching, keep growing. And I'm just excited to see where women's sports as a whole continues to develop and get into.
This event will also impact all of sports, whether it's men or women. It doesn't matter. This was an event. That's what this was. And so I can envision college football programs or NFL teams, NBA teams looking at how they pulled this off, because you have some teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars that may only have 40,000, 50,000 people in attendance in the audience. So I can see this being a case study for other teams, other leagues around the world, because this was huge, absolutely amazing.
All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we have some NBA news. NBA referee Eric Lewis officially announces his retirement. Now, via an NBA communications memo that went out yesterday.
Why is this news?
I'll tell you in a second. Via an NBA communications memo that went out yesterday, Eric Lewis informed the league that he is retiring effective immediately. Now, if you're like Brandon and you want to know why this is news, this is the same referee that the NBA was investigating because of his burner account that he used to defend himself and also support the Boston Celtics. Now, the announcement follows the league's discovery of this said burner account. And now that he is retiring, the investigation is officially closed.
Okay, I get it now. Okay.
Yeah.
There's some messy stuff going on.
Now, before we dive into this, if you remember, this is the same referee who Pat Bev famously showed the camera to in the middle of an NBA game because he missed the call. And Pat Bev was this was actually during the game where the Lakers lost after one of the more egregious non-calls ever on LeBron James. I don't know if we have that clip, but Pat Bev actually took one of the photographer's cameras to show that it was a foul on LeBron. Here it is. Look, check this out. Here's Pat Bev walking over to Eric Lewis. Said, "Are you blind? Can you not see?"
He teed him up. And he teed him up. So what's happening here, Ashley?
And I believe if my eyes look correctly, maybe I could be wrong. JP, somebody fact check me. Wow. Was that against the Boston Celtics or were those the Bucks? I couldn't see. I'm thinking that was the Celtics.
Why does that matter though?
Well, because Eric Lewis. It was against the Boston Celtics. It matters because also on Eric Lewis's burner account, outside of defending himself, he and his family are avid Boston Celtics fans. So it was a conspiracy. It was in TD Garden, the Boston Celtics. It was one of the most egregious non-calls on LeBron James that I personally have ever seen on a player. And it all kind of intertwines.
Is this the game? So LeBron's on his knees. Is this the one where everybody was making fun of Bron, how he was acting?
Yeah, but this though was legitimate because it was an egregious, just disrespectful non-call on LeBron. And then we've come to find out that Eric Lewis has a burner account. Okay. He is also a Boston Celtics fan. You
think he was throwing games? Is it that bad?
I can't confirm nor deny. I don't know if he was betting, but I think that whenever you're a fan of a team, subconsciously you may see things a little bit differently than if you weren't a fan. For example, I'll call it what it is. When I watch Knicks games, sometimes I'll say, "That's a foul, ref." And may or may not have been a foul, but I want the
dramatic.
call. I want the call. When you are a fan, your sight is a little bit skewed sometimes, which is why a referee should not be a openly just fan of a team. And Eric Lewis clearly is a diehard Boston Celtics fan, and it showed in his officiating at times.
So what you said, the announcement followed the discovery of the league's investigation, right, of his social media activity, his burner. I think this is a big deal. You know, you obviously see what's happening in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It seems like every 3 months there's a group of guys being suspended for months, or if not a year. You saw that in Calvin Ridley for their activity in the betting world. You just saw it recently and at the college football level. And so the NBA, they've had situations like this in the past. Mm-hmm. NCAA, men's basketball, they've had these situations in the past. Now gambling is at the forefront of sports. We're talking about it all the time. It's big business. The leagues are embracing it. And so it seems like, it feels like, Ashley, this is more than him just being a fan, and he probably was doing some stuff that's probably going to get him maybe even some jail time. That might sound extreme, but
he's not going to get jail time. He retired. They closed the investigation.
I think haven't we seen that in the past? And at the college level where
it's true we have, but the difference is those guys were active referees. Eric Lewis is retired. He announced his retirement, which closes the investigation, which means the league is not investigating his burner account or whatever activity they think may have been linked to that burner account, because he's no longer in the NBA. He will no longer be officiating games. But I think, listen, we see referees in all sports make calls sometimes that are like, what the hell, which is one of the reasons why I think across the board there have been rules that have been added from season to season to kind of take less of the responsibility away from referees when it comes to deciding the outcomes of games, because we have seen time and time again that the judgment or lack thereof of a referee can be game deciding mm-hmm. and season ending. For this example, this was a game deciding non-call on the Lakers. So it's problematic in that sense, and that's why I think that the league has zero tolerance for, burner accounts or even just the potential of somebody throwing games.
I hear you, but I hear you. It seems like they don't really want this investigation, because they might.
They were investigating him though.
But I'm saying, like, for them to just say, okay, now it's over. Like, what else did you find? It's almost like what happened with the Commanders and when they start doing an investigation there and they start finding Coach Gruden and so many other things start coming up. Does the NBA really want to unpack this? Like, listen, gambling is big. Throwing games and doing all of that stuff, cheating, that's a real thing. And that could really tarnish a team, that can really tarnish a league. I just think there's more to it.
Of course there's more to it.
Not, but there's more to it for sure.
Of course there's more to it. The man retired to avoid the investigation. He's not dumb. Like, he knew what he was doing.
What other referees are doing this? What other referees are involved in this? That's what I want to know.
We're going into a whole different can of worms. But Eric Lewis said, investigation or retire and keep my pension. I'm gonna go with option 2. So enjoy.
He gets his pension?
He retired. So yeah.
Oh my goodness! The NBA's involved.
Conspiracy. The man saw his options and picked the one that was going to go ahead and be most beneficial. He retired, will no longer work in the NBA. He's removed from the situation. The league closes the investigation. He can go enjoy retirement and his burner account and Turks and Caicos. Enjoy retirement, Eric Lewis.
That's crazy.
You know who's happy he didn't retire? Aaron Rodgers, because he is outside, and he is talking real spicy. Listen, a clip from this season of HBO's Hard Knocks, which obviously has been following the New York Jets, has gone viral on social media. And before we play the clip, let me just tee it up for you. It shows footage of Aaron Rodgers during the Jets-Giants preseason game where Jahad Ward committed a late hit on the QB, to which Rodgers responded, quote, "Show some respect, bro. I don't even know who you are." And then he threw a touchdown. Roll the footage. We got it.
Bootleg out to the left, flipping it left. McCole Hardman.
Bro, yeah. Show some respect, bro.
All right. He said, show some respect, bro. I don't even know who you are. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is like a phoenix that has risen from the ashes.
Right.
You know, when he was in Green Bay, it kind of looked like it was over for him. Not over, but it just looked like he was a shell of the Aaron Rodgers that we've come to be accustomed to. It looked like he didn't want to be there. Yeah. Physically, he didn't look in the best of shape. His hair was all scraggly. He just kind of was dragging himself.
He looks scraggly.
No, he looks a lot better.
1 to 10, what you giving him?
I think Aaron Rodgers right now is like a solid 8. Like, he looks good.
You'll date him?
I feel like I don't go that far, but like he.
Well, you put him. Who's better looking, Jimmy G? Because you.
Jimmy G is the Italian stallion. You know, I'm going Jimmy Garoppolo all day, every day. But I will say that he looks good physically. I think he's in the best shape we've seen him in. He looks healthier. He looks alert. He just looks happy to be there. But I mean, this is. I like this. Has anyone ever told you that? I don't know.
He did.
Aaron Rodgers said that to you?
Like, basically, listen, I've had I've had some classic battles with Aaron Rodgers when I was playing for the Dolphins in 2010. That was the year they won the Super Bowl. We went up to Lambeau Field and we beat them, and we were a decent team. We were a great team, and so I had that experience to seeing him do what he does on the field, but also trash talk. He's not a loud trash talker. He like pokes at you. He'll just give you this little subtle little push. And it's really when you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, or if you're trying him. And then obviously playing for the Chicago Bears, that was a rivalry game for us, and that was probably one of the biggest rivalries in sports. So like we had some classic battles. You heard him say in the past he owns the Chicago Bears. So this doesn't surprise me, but I saw it. The time where I really realized how true he was, how real he was a couple of months ago at the 7-on-7 tournament. Remember I told you, the flag football. Mm-hmm. So what happened was I was emceeing it with Jordan Palmer, Carson Palmer's brother. All right, so we're emceeing the whole 7-on-7. You got Josh Allen on this side. Mm-hmm. You got Ritter on this side. You got all these legendary quarterbacks and Aaron Rodgers, quarterbacking their own teams. So I'm talking trash. Everybody loves it. Mm-hmm. I end up saying, you know what? Forget this. Let me go play. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to play against Aaron Rodgers, so I went to the safety on the opposing team. Mm-hmm. So now Aaron Rodgers went from, this is a true story, Aaron Rodgers went from dominating this team to now we're like in a really close match. T.O.'s on this team as well, Ashley, and the beef is at its all-time high with me and T.O. So we're playing against T.O. and Aaron Rodgers. Our team starts coming back, and I'm talking trash, the same trash I've been talking, and then Aaron Rodgers stops, and he says, he starts walking up to me, gets in my face, and like, see, that's why you ain't make the playoffs. That's why you never made the playoffs. And I started laughing. I said, oh, my goodness, you starting to get serious?
Did you laugh so you wouldn't cry?
Huh? No. Well, kind of. So I saw that. Ashley, I did a little exercise today. Mm-hmm. Okay, not working out here. I did another exercise. So when I saw this, I said, let me look up who has said this before. Because I've been in games. I think Jay Cutler has said this. I have said this. Like, this is like one of the most disrespectful things you can say, in sport when you're trash talking. Because you're basically saying, like, man, we don't know you're nobody, right? Mm-hmm. So I looked it up. And this article from Bleacher Report in 2011 popped up. And it said, Smack Talk, the 20 best trash talkers in sports history. You know who's number one?
Aaron Rodgers.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, I could see that.
Two? Shannon Sharp.
Really?
You know who's number 3? Mark Cuban. You know
Mark
who's number
Cuban?
4. Look who's number 4, Ashley.
Brandon Marshall.
It says Brandon Marshall didn't have a lot to trash talk about.
Damn, that was.
But
ouch.
Let me read this. In other 1,300-yard years, there was plenty smack talk to go around. Marshall saves a lot of his trash talk for after the game, mainly keeping a silent demeanor during it. Most famous trash talk directed to Joey Porter. All those muscles are popcorn muscles. He's soft. He's in nightclubs dancing with his shirt off like a girl, or in the playground getting beat up in the back in California.
Wow.
So I was shocked that they had me at 4.
You're shocked that they had you at 4. That synopsis is crazy. Can I see that? Is that real? I'm gonna verify this. That he didn't add any sauce to this.
Look, real.
No. I'm trying to see if this is. Oh no, they actually wrote this.
They wrote this.
Wow. Popcorn muscles. That's
I was shocked because I'm trying
Who
to.
did you piss off at Bleacher Report?
Well, no, they're saying I'm top 4. You got Shannon Sharp, you got Shaquille O'Neal, number 1. You got Shannon Sharp, number 2. We saw that. Call the National Guard.
Mark Cuban, though.
Mark Cuban and then me. Well, Mark Cuban sitting courtside.
But he's not an athlete.
I know. I was just shocked. I was trying to add a little color to this because what I was looking for was other athletes that made this statement before. Because there's so many athletes that do it. But when they do it, it's so disrespectful. And so this is what popped up, and I was kind of shocked. Top 4? I didn't talk trash.
Nah.
Oh, see, look. That was the event right there. They pulled that up. Look at our team.
That looks
our team
like
is so great.
That looks like it looks like you're laughing to keep from crying.
No, this was
when your idols
interviewing.
become your rivals, No,
it was cool because, this is my first time really being in an intimate setting with A-Rod. And I also had some very colorful statements regarding him and the Packers, right? Like, I'm like, you guys underperformed and Aaron Rodgers need to do better. All this stuff that you said, like, how are you treating your teammates? Why aren't you showing up and helping these young guys develop? And he sees everything, watches everything. So it was uncomfortable for me in the setting because I'm like, yo, this dude probably doesn't like me. So how I broke the ice in front of a packed house, there's people in the stands. What I did was I said, my number 1 goal, guys, before we get started here, I said, I just want you guys to know my number 1 goal before the day ends is getting Aaron Rodgers to smile, right? And so he had those shades on.
That's kind of a smile.
No, this is before this.
Oh.
This is how we got close. So I made that statement. Everybody started laughing, and Aaron Rodgers looks over at me, and he just lifts up his glass and starts cracking up. I was like, I got him. And after that moment, I just started going in on him, right? And so we got to this moment. I interviewed him, and that was cool. So
I love that. Well, we're going to move on to something a little bit more serious, but I think definitely groundbreaking in the same sense. President Biden, the Biden and Harris administration, is recommending that the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, reclassifies marijuana as a lower risk drug, which would move it out of the same category as other drugs such as LSD, ecstasy, heroin. They're recommending that the DEA remove cannabis from a Schedule I to a Schedule III drug, saying, quote, President Biden is effectively declaring an end to Nixon's failed war on cannabis and placing the nation on a trajectory to end prohibition. Now, marijuana was listed as a Schedule I drug during the Nixon administration. So this is a monumental proposal, and if approved, it would mean another step towards decriminalizing marijuana. Now, currently, 23 states now allow anyone at least 21 years old to legally possess the drug, while 38 states have established medical marijuana programs. Brandon, this is a big deal. Weed has locked up a lot of people in inner cities, unfortunately, mostly of the Black community. As we are continuing steps into legalizing marijuana across the country, it's time that our legislative kind of catches up as well with the decriminalization of it. This is a big deal if this is approved.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot to this. One of the reasons why it's taking so long is because we got to understand the business surrounding the criminal justice system and also just the penitentiary system, right? Like in the business around that. The mic's right here. Sorry guys. So a lot of people don't understand that there's so many corporations. Our government is making so much money off of our community. You get locked up. You get free labor. These dudes are making 2, 3 cents, 4 cents to create license plates and create the signs that we see, as we're driving. Manufacturing different things. So we got to understand that. And that's why it's taking so long. I was watching a Netflix series last night, Swamp Kings, covering the Florida Gators. And I'll bring these two together. And they were telling a story about this young man. It was the Urban Meyer era where this young running back, I forget his first name, but his last name was Brown, short dude. And they start getting in trouble after they won their first national championship. Everybody's getting in trouble. Everybody's getting arrested. And he tells a story about going to purchase a 20 bag of weed, like a bag of weed that cost $20, right? And he got arrested, and he's sitting in the jail, and he's like 24 hours wide open, like awake, not blinking, and all he kept thinking about was being cut or sent home, right? And so now you fast forward to where we're at, and everything that you said, how many states now legalized it, from just
23 states currently.
23, and then from a medical
38.
standpoint, boom. And it's like, man, all the challenges and families that we've hurt and broken off of fucking a plant is unbelievable, and it continues to this day. So I don't know if I brought these things together, but when I saw that this was in a show, I literally thought about the show that I watched last night. I'm like, damn, this kid was sitting there in a jail and so anxious and so scared over a 20 bag of weed, a bag that costs $20.
20 ounce.
Is that what it's called? You see, I'm struggling, right?
20 ounce.
Is it a nickel? They still do nickel bags and
nickel bags, dime bags.
What is it? It's called a 20 ounce.
20 piece,
20
20
piece?
ounce. I don't know. It depends on where you're from, but no, but this is also a big deal. Also because listen, like I said, 23 states have currently allowed and marijuana to be legally possessed by anyone 21 years and older, which also, though, we see states, we see states like California and Denver and other states, New York, New Jersey now, that actually have dispensaries. This is also going to go ahead and help to broaden the way of making it legal across the country, which then helps to expand dispensaries, to expand, the business side, the commercial side of marijuana. As well.
Who has suffered the most is us, right? And now you go legalize it, okay? And who's benefiting the most off of it now is who? Them. So you have guys like Viola,
Allen Iverson and Al Harrington.
Al Harrington is someone who's doing some amazing things with legislation and doing amazing things in his space, but we don't have any representation really at that level. So we suffered the most, and now we're benefiting the least now that it is legal and there's big business around it. They compare this marijuana, this cannabis industry, to the .com boom. Like, there was millionaires made overnight. That it's like a once in a generational type of opportunity when you talk about investment. And it's the same thing here. Now it's happening in Web3. So this is the third thing. And so hopefully there's more people out there like us that will benefit from, all the opportunities now.
Everyone in the chat's laughing at me because 20 ounce is not what it's called. I don't know.
What is it?
I don't know. I think 20. The only terminology I know is like a dime piece. I think there's.
I knew nickel, but
there's
I was
a nickel.
To say that.
There's an eighth.
That's what he was getting because they said 0.8, so his eighth was a 20. It's $20.
Is 20 worth a dub? Is that what it's called? I think.
No, the eighth is worth a dub because what I was trying to say, and I probably confused people. I was trying to tell this story, but the running back went to go pick up like a eighth of weed, which was $20, and he got arrested, obviously, and that was the time back in 2007, 2008, obviously. But now it's nothing.
I don't know.
What are they saying? What are they saying? Dime piece?
I know dime piece. I know that. I know an eighth.
How much for a 3.5? I don't know none of this. A dub.
Yeah, a dub. That's what I said. It's called a dub sack, right?
Ash picking up a light 20 zips.
I've never bought weed in my life, so I don't know I've never like.
I feel like if I smoke, I feel like I would probably still be playing if I had a healthy relationship with marijuana and cannabis. I really do. It was always like the stigma around it. It was frowned upon, and I gave my life to Christ back when I was playing for the Dolphins. So even that came into play from a spiritual standpoint. But when you really understand cannabis and all the benefits around it, It helps with anxiety. It helps with recovery, like literally. So physically, mentally, there's so many benefits. I wish I embraced it when I was playing. I had dudes smoking all the time. It was like, damn, I'm recovering. This is my form of recovery.
Mm-hmm. The chat's like, Ashley's a weed virgin. I didn't say that. I just said I've never bought any.
So what are you saying? Tell the people. What are you saying?
I've never bought any.
What does that mean?
I've never had to buy any. Like, I don't know how to buy. I've never bought any.
So have you smoked?
I can't confirm nor deny. I've just never bought any. I don't know what that is. Can't confirm nor deny. Not on this show. Not here. Anyway, we're going to close out news of the day with some news about DJ Khaled. He is opening for Beyonce's Renaissance World Tour when she stops in California. Listen, DJ Khaled revealed that he will be opening for Beyonce September 1st and 2nd. That is
tomorrow. Beyonce got on?
I don't know, a jeweled something or another.
Oof.
So September 1st and September 2nd, which is tomorrow and Saturday in Inglewood, California. Now, previously, DJ Khaled opened for the North American leg tour of the On the Run 2 tour, which Beyonce did with her husband, Jay-Z. I was actually at that tour. It was fantastic. Yeah, this is cool. I mean, Beyonce hasn't had an opening act this entire tour. Her and DJ Khaled have a great relationship. Obviously, Rock Nation, We the Best, Def Jam, they're all basically family. Lenny S, that connection. I didn't think she needed an opening act, but I don't think it hurts. You know, DJ Khaled is LA. It is going to be, you know, a lot of stars in the building, so maybe that's why.
That was the first thing that came to mind for me was why.
You know it's probably because of it's probably because it's California.
She never have open
No,
acts.
she has.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to a bunch of her tours. Mrs. Carter tour, she had Luke James. On the Run tour, she had DJ Khaled.
What's the strategy you think behind it?
It's California.
Is it every show?
No. So she hasn't had an opening act this entire show. I think it's because it's LA and it's like the celebrities and everyone's going to be there. They want, I guess maybe they want them to be entertained while they're waiting. I don't know, but he will be there just for the LA tour.
When is this?
Tomorrow and Saturday.
Oh, okay. 50 Cent just performed also.
Somebody told me that DJ Khaled has an album coming out, so it could be part of the rollout.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love how they support each other and work together. Why haven't you brought up 50 Cent? You want to talk about Beyonce and DJ Khaled? 50 Cent's on I forget the name of his tour. He just played in
He
LA.
is on a tour. He performed, I think, last night in LA, and he hit a fan in the head with the microphone.
What?
He was upset.
I had no clue about this. What happened?
He threw his microphone and it ricocheted and hit a fan in the head. So he didn't throw it at a fan. He threw his mic and it ricocheted and hit a fan.
Why did he throw his mic?
He was upset about something.
Like the sound, like a Cardi B moment?
I don't know. It's called the Final Lap Tour. I don't know why he threw his mic, but he threw his mic and it ricocheted off of somebody. Can somebody? I don't know why. Maybe we can get that video by the end of the show and we can put it in there. But yeah, he just
boom. Boom. Yeah.
So there's that. All right, so we're gonna dive into some NFL news. Yeah. So that concludes news of the day. Thank you very much. Joey B, Joe Bird, Joe Ice, whatever you want to call him. I like to just call him Joey B. He returned to practice with his helmet and shoulder pads on yesterday for the first time in a month. Now, if you remember, Joe Burrow sustained a calf injury earlier in training camp. We have the video of him walking into practice with
Did he get a
fully dressed. There he is, number 9.
He's back. Why he put the MJ sleeve on his leg? He should have did that. Right? Look, I'm surprised he didn't have the MJ sleeve on. He probably got a standing ovation from, everybody that was there, probably just his teammates. And I say that because the fans, it's probably it's not open practice anymore. We're past that phase. But his teammates are like, yes.
Joe Shiesty.
Yes, he's back. And it's because it's like, without him, if you look at these first couple games, Ashley, ooh, it's going to be tough sledding.
Well, you speak about his teammates, and we have some sound bites from 2 of the guys he knows pretty well. Wide receiver T. Higgins said Burrow's return, it gave the Bengals, quote, extra juice on Wednesday. Take a look at this.
Yeah, sure. just excited to get the season back going. A lot of high hopes for this team. I know guys in the locker room is feeling the same way and just ready to go play.
I know how much Joe means. You know how much he means. Just him being back out there with you guys. What goes through your head when you see that?
Yeah, man. I definitely feel like it gave the guys some extra juice, just to go out there and just show him that we've been working hard, even though he's been getting treated up. We wanted to show him that there's nothing. We ain't leave off nothing. We still at the same spot we was when he first got hurt. So.
Feel different with Joe out there?
It's about the same. I mean, at the end of the day, we out there, receivers out there to do our job. That's everybody. And just seeing him back out there, I mean, just makes our job easier.
You said he was like, "What's up, guys?"
He was like, "What's up, guys? How's it going?" And then call the play. Right back to business.
All right, but that wasn't the only teammate who had something to say. Wide receiver Jamar Chase said he had, quote, no idea Joe Burrow was even returning to practice. And when he saw him with pads on, he said, what the hell are you doing? Listen to this one.
It's slowly happening. We're starting to feel more dialed in. The locker room's getting a little smaller, so that's when more time.
Was today part of a plan, or when did you find out that Joe was going to come back today?
I found out when I got on the field. Matter of fact, I found out when I watched him put his gear on. I was like, what's he doing? And I seen him in walkthrough today, too, so that was another thing. I didn't think he was practicing.
So that was his first walkthrough today?
No. It was his first participation walkthrough. How about that?
Okay, all right.
So, I mean, listen, you hear from two of his wide receivers. One is both obviously very excited that he's back. Obviously, Jamar Chase had no idea. T. Higgins said it gave the offense, just the entire team, the extra juice that they needed. I mean, Brandon, this is big. Joe Burrow's missed a month. We are about a week out and a couple of days from the start of the NFL season. Having your quarterback, your QB1, your franchise guy walk into practice, helmet on, pads on, ready to go. Gotta feel good. You gotta feel confident going into week one. What does that do for a wide receiver?
It's everything, and he said it. It gave us juice. Because the reality is, when you have a backup quarterback, let's go into the psyche, the mind of a general manager and a head coach. We're bringing in a gap that can can man the ship for a few games. If our quarterback goes down for 4 or 5 games, can we win 2? Can we potentially get 3? Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking at, right? And so with this particular team has already made it there, right? They are trying to get over that hump and become champions. I wouldn't say it's Super Bowl or bust, but their goals is Super Bowl. They're real contenders. And when you look at their schedule, Ashley, the first four games, there's no pushover. You're opening up the season in a division. Mm-hmm. You have Cleveland. You're at Cleveland.
Okay.
Cleveland going to be tough. Hello, wake up, football world. Stop overlooking the Cleveland Browns. They're going to be tough. Back to the schedule. They're at Cleveland, Ashley. Then then Baltimore comes to them. Mm-hmm. Lamar, new high-powered offense, throwing it around, still going to be able to run. Defensively, will they be the Ray Lewis defense? Probably not. But Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens can win this division. And then you're in L.A. You play against the Rams. Now, they should beat the Rams. They should beat the Rams, but
sure.
Come on now.
I mean, you still got Aaron Donald on the other side of that line.
You got Matthew Stafford. You still got Cooper Kupp, and you still got the baby boy wonder, Coach McVay. Okay? So we ain't going to overlook them. And also the Tennessee Titans. Hello, football world. Don't forget about the Tennessee Titans. Ashley has the Jacksonville Jaguars, I believe, winning the division. Yes. I have the Tennessee Titans winning the division and being the black horse of the NFL. So these first 4 games, you need him out there because we have seen year after year teams miss the playoffs or get in the playoffs by 1 game. Right? And then look at the division the last 10 years. You had the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers running division, but it's back and forth. It's by 1 or 2 games. And now you have the Cincinnati Bengals who won a division the last 2 years, year 2022, 2021. And so they're now the kings, I would say, of the division, but it ain't sweet. So they need him out there, and I can see why T. Higgins responded the way he did.
Well, can we go back to the first video of Joe Burrow walking into practice with his pads and his helmet, I want to go ahead and how does his walk look to you? Listen, it was a calf injury. It left him out for about a month. Obviously, we're not doctors, so we can't armchair diagnose, but just athlete to athlete, how do you feel that he's walking considering the injury that he did sustain earlier in training camp?
Listen, if you go back to Joe Burrow walks funny, period, healthy or not. He has like a certain type of a gait, a certain type of swagger, and a lot of these quarterbacks walk ugly.
What do you mean?
Tom Brady, like he walked like a giraffe. Like, you ever seen Tom Brady walk out and his legs just flaring all over the place? These dudes aren't athletes. Now, if this was a wide receiver, I'd be like, something's going off on his right leg. You know, I can look at it, be like, gait's off a little bit. But Joey Cool, this is how he normally walks. I don't think there's any problem, and I don't think the team will put him in position or put the team in position to hurt him even more. And you got to think, this is contract year 2, so there's a lot going on. He wouldn't go out there if he wasn't ready to go.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely interesting because you have some people in the chat saying it looks like he's walking with a limp. I didn't see a limp.
I wish there was footage. There was one, but it was actually after he hurt himself. He came out to practice, and the way he was walking, it was like, I was looking, it was like, this looked like Tom Brady. Just like a baby giraffe.
I've actually never really analyzed like a quarterback's walk. Now I'm gonna do that every time I see them walk.
Look at all the guys.
I've seen like Dak walk at Radio Row. I don't think he had a weird walk. Like, I think he walks normal.
I'm not just saying it's just here's
like
the
Tua.
deal.
I didn't think Tua walked weird.
This is why I say that, because I don't really look at quarterbacks as athletes like that. I look at them as skill players. Skill like golf. Golf, you have a skill. You have this routine. You have the same approach. That's what the quarterbacks are working on. Okay, my 3-step drop, my 5-step drop, my 7-step drop. Where's the ball placement? How am I falling through? Like, they're like golfers to me. And listen, maybe too much information. I saw somebody, Jabril's that's in the chat all.
Yassir?
Jabril.
Jabril Yassir.
I said something like going all in.
Yeah.
I said then I start going all in on Aaron Rodgers, and he thought it was a pause moment. This might be another pause moment. But anyways, in the locker room, you know, dudes take off their clothes, and like, I was shocked probably about like year 2. I'm like, why does all of our quarterbacks look so terrible? Like, saggy, I was about to say saggy up here, you know, no definition, no muscle definition. Like, just bad, because they don't work out the way we work out. It's all about rotational power. It's all about just, is your shoulder strong?
Got it.
These quarterbacks
they skip chest day.
Basically what I'm saying is, these quarterbacks are bad body. Bad body.
You think that's still true?
Have you ever seen a quarterback walk off the practice field with his shirt off? We've seen moments where it's 10 degrees or 5 below 0, and so now you got everybody with their shirts off trying to be tough. Have you ever seen a quarterback in that situation? We never do. Have you ever walked in a locker room or seen the press conferences where they're in a locker room, and what you see, the quarterbacks are already covered up?
Kirk Cousins walks around with his shirt off.
Kirk Cousins did it.
Ryan Fitzpatrick did it.
And look at Ryan Fitzy was looking terrible, and that's my guy. But you're right, Kirk Cousins looked good. But think about those guys that got all those muscles. They can't have all those muscles, Ashley. They need to be able to rotate. What
do you mean? Jalen Hurts is in great shape. Dak's in great shape.
I'm not saying they're in bad shape.
No, but they're not bad body. They have muscles, six-pack. Russell Wilson walks around with his shirt off all the time in the offseason.
Yes, and he just lost 20 pounds too, right?
But what I'm saying is Cam Newton used to do it.
Listen, when you think of a football player, we think of like these big, muscular guys or very cut and defined.
Depending on the position.
It's rare that we see a quarterback like that. They can't be like that. Their thing is, let's not be stiff. I got to be as mobile as possible. Tom Brady's starting to look better. Compare Tom Brady on the boat recently, and who is this girl he's dating?
I don't know people's business. I don't know. No, I don't.
This model, Ina. I don't know
if he's dating her. I don't know that.
He was on the top list of vacation recently.
She was just in Italy with her
Bradley Cooper,
with her baby daddy. That's her baby daddy.
What is going on?
I don't know. I don't know people's business. I don't know.
You know what I'm.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know.
But he looked amazing. He looked cut. He's starting to put on more muscle. He's not as. I don't know if he's.
But Tom Brady's always been in great shape, though.
He's been in great shape, but he don't look like no.
I'm trying to go through a list of quarterbacks in my head, and maybe like once upon a time.
Ben Roethlisberger.
I feel like maybe once upon a time that was true,
Peyton
but like.
Manning.
Okay, Peyton's different. Eli's different. But, like, think about, like, a Lamar. Think about, like, a Cam Newton. Think about a Jalen Hurts. Think about, they all have, they may not be walking around with their shirts off.
What'd you say?
Jalen Hurts.
And who else?
I said Lamar Jackson.
And who else?
I said Cam Newton.
They got that blood in them. They got
Oh,
that blood
my
in them.
God.
I didn't say it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they come out the womb looking like that.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying. You naming some from Pompano. You naming some boys from the nowhere, Georgia. You know
okay.
what I'm saying?
Kirk Cousins, like I said.
Yeah, it's, every once in a while you just get that one. You get Will Levis, and that's what concerns me, Ashley. I promise you this. Until I retire talking sports, you'll always hear me say this about the quarterback position, right? If I see a quarterback that's super muscular, it scares me.
Really?
Yeah, too much muscle. I need you, like Tom.
So if you had a, but okay, look at Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy is. Look, I think where we're off is like there's one thing to be in shape and there's one thing to be like muscular and like looking like a.
So you're saying if you had a quarterback that was like a DK Metcalf, you'd be like, oh no.
Hell no.
You don't like. I'm good.
He gonna be.
I'm good.
He gonna be like this. I need somebody just smooth like.
You need someone with more agility.
Yeah, think about a golfer. That's quarterbacks train like golfers. They don't train like football players. So when we walk in the locker room, we'll have our own little workout. And they're doing their own thing. Eli Manning might be in the corner doing shit like this. Like, you know, and then taking tennis balls or balls, weighted balls. I don't know if y'all want to make me pause, Jabril. Do I need to pause
No,
that?
we don't have to pause that.
And throwing it against the wall and just working on his shoulder stability and mobility and strength. So, yeah. I don't want a quarterback looking like DK Metcalf. Please,
Interesting.
No. Give me a quarterback.
So how far muscular can a quarterback
looking
be?
like Britney Spears. That's what I want.
Britney Spears.
I want a Britney Spears.
That's
her trunk.
insane.
You ever seen her trunk?
Her what?
Her mid-level is strong. She's strong. You see her dances that she's doing? Putting her leg up. Yo, you got to have a strong core to do that. That's where the throws is. You seen Dak doing his hip mobility.
Oh, my God. Yo. All right. Britney Spears, you want your quarterback? That is a quote. Yes. I want my quarterback built like Britney.
Let's put a picture of Ryan Fitzpatrick in the side by side. Ryan Fitzpatrick and Britney Spears, very similar.
What?
Very similar.
Brady, you're so out of pocket right now. You just said Ryan Fitzpatrick and Britney Spears have the same body.
Kyle Orton. Oh my goodness. I said, what the hell is this? But it didn't dawn on me back then. I'm like, oh, they can't have all those muscles. No.
How muscular can a quarterback be without it being in dangerous territory of him not being able to be an efficient quarterback?
Put it like this.
Like, is Cam Newton the cutoff? Or was Cam Newton even too much to one side?
Cam Newton is like I said, Cam Newton is like it's crazy. We just did something in Atlanta together and we both looked at each other. He's like, you play wide receiver? And I was like, you play quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Like every once in a while somebody comes along and just like, how are you playing this position? But I will say this. Right around, I'll come in, when I used to play, I would come into training camp right around 10% body fat, 9% body fat. And then about time I hit October, I'm at 6% body fat. Now I'm ready to go. Like, it's over. It's a wrap. Where I don't want no quarterback at 6%. I don't want no quarterback at 7% body fat.
So you want like a Big Ben?
Elite
type?
No, I want my quarterbacks to be right around, give me a quarterback 11 to 14% body fat. That's what I want. I want to be able to look, I want to see some rolls. I want to see some rolls, but then when I poke your stomach out, like your core, you got the core.
What is happening? You rolls, poking stomach, so you want the Pillsbury Doughboy.
A little roll, but that doesn't mean your core's not crazy strong.
Okay.
And grip feet. You gotta have some feet in the pocket. Look. Oh, they gave me look at Brittany. Look, this is what I want. This is what I need. Does Brittany look like give me somebody that looks crazy. What player in the NFL if Sauce Gardner? Like, if you see a picture of Sauce Gardner or Patrick Surtain, you're going to see 6-pack. Hell, you're going to see a 12-pack. You're going to see all this definition. Like, I don't want that on my quarterback. This is perfect. Britney Spears looks amazing. She doesn't look amazing to you?
She looks great.
That's what I'm saying. But you wouldn't say that she looks like, Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez, like, she got 6-pack. She don't have a 6-pack?
I don't remember like the last.
Yes,
I'm sure, but Bernie does. She has a toned stomach. She looks like she has some definition. I don't know. Oh my God.
Why is this?
I don't think that she looks like Ryan Fitzpatrick though.
Well, we ain't show Ryan Fitzpatrick with his shirt off. Go maybe pull up the picture of Ryan Fitzpatrick when he had his shirt off, when he had the chains on. Was that the picture?
I think so.
There might be a picture out there with his shirt off, and you'll see.
Somebody in the chat said this is why Brandon Marshall loved him some Jay Cutler.
Jay came in too muscular.
Did he?
Yes, and then about time he woke up, and then we got to Chicago. Yeah, Jay, I'm looking like, boy, you ain't got no definition, but his arm was still amazing. He started learning.
Smoking Jay Cutler, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody said Britney Spears is built more like a linebacker than a quarterback.
Y'all tripping? Don't disrespect Britney, and we ain't body shaming no women.
You body shaming the men.
I'll body shame a man, but I'm not body shaming a woman because they'll cancel your ass even on YouTube and SiriusXM if you talk about the wrong.
He said, "I will body shame the hell out of a man."
Yeah, straight up. I was listening to Breakfast Club driving in this morning, and Charlamagne, he does the donkey of the day thing, and he was like, apparently this guy Liam Brown had sex with a cow. Okay, so that was his donkey of the day. But basically what Charlamagne was saying.
Was he calling a woman a cow or an actual cow?
No.
Like an animal?
He had sex with a cow, and now he's going to jail. Okay? So Charlamagne, that was his donkey of the day, but Charlamagne's like, it's time to get back to shaming. That's what he's basically saying. It's like, we live in a sensitive world now, but can I shame this guy? I'm going to shame this guy. So he told the story of Liam. There you go. Look at that. It's the same. Look at the arms.
Brandon,
look right by the
you
arms.
are so out of pocket,
dog.
Look
at the under armpits. And sorry for everybody that's listening on the radio right now because we're on SiriusXM, Faction Talk Channel 103's Brandon and Ashley. And we're looking at a picture of Ryan Fitzpatrick and Britney Spears. Put that back up there.
Brandon.
How far off am I? And
You're so far off. This is so disrespectful, Brandon. They don't remotely close to the same body type.
Look at the under armpit. Look.
Brandon, it's because her sports bra is tight. It's in the back. But that's not even, come on now.
This is Ryan Fitzpatrick in the off season. You know what I mean? So, listen, it's close. Close enough.
Okay.
They say I'm tripping. I'm tripping. All right. Sometimes I just don't know how to communicate the right way. I be on track, but sometimes I just can't communicate in a way for y'all to understand. Walking in a locker room for 13 years and seeing these quarterbacks, and it's like,
someone said that Brady looks like she will form tackle the F out of you.
But think about it.
Me. For body shaming her.
I ain't messing with Brittany.
Okay, listen.
I ain't messing with Brittany.
Someone said, "Are you on moon rocks today with them glasses? It's the full moon. What's going on? Did you see the blue moon last night? Did you check it out?"
I seen it, but there was clouds covering it from where I was. Man, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm on an island, and
I had a perfect view from my house. I got the best
view of the moon always. And tonight, man, that shit was covered."
Oh no, I had a fantastic view. I have a video of it of everything. It was beautiful. Next one won't be until 2037, so hopefully you guys got a chance to check it out. That's where the saying comes, once in a blue moon.
Oh, why didn't you tell me that yesterday?
I don't know. It didn't dawn on me, but that's where the saying comes from, once in a blue moon.
Oh,
because
my goodness.
Blue moons are so rare that when you say once in a blue moon, it means something's rare. See that?
This is our environmentalist, Ashley Nicole Moss. Influencer. Can we call you an influencer? You can see her on Tommy Hilfiger campaign. She's getting into beauty with the hair care and the skin care.
More exciting news.
And she's also in the environment. She cares about. Would you consider yourself a tree hugger?
Oh, for sure. In my house, fun fact, this is about me, and my mom's in the chat. She can attest to this.
Damn, so this is the first time I heard mom's in the chat.
No, my mom's always in the chat.
Where's she under?
She's I don't know. She's always in the chat, though.
What's up with you? She got an alias?
No,
she got a burner?
It's Patty Pause. Wherever you can see it. It's in there somewhere. But listen, I, as a little girl, would make my parents, like when you get the sodas, like the 6-packs?
Yes.
I would make my parents cut the plastic that comes around the 6-pack, and I would have them cut it to the point where there were no more circles or holes in the hole for the turtles and the fish and things, because they would get wrapped around like turtles and fish and stuff, and it would suffocate them basically in the water. So I, from the time I was like 10, would make my parents cut it. So I've always been very like environmentally like acute, just a tree hugger, if you will.
Let me ask you this question.
I'm very big on that.
And then we can move on.
Yeah.
Because you seem, okay, I understand that. Your dog, Cooper, poops.
Cooper, yeah.
Cooper poops.
Uh-huh.
Do you pick it up or you leave it there?
No, I pick it up.
You seem like somebody leave it there.
That's disgusting.
You look like someone. You definitely
you
left Cooper's poop outside
I've
today.
never done that. That's disgusting. That's gross. Like, pick up after your dog, people, because if I step in your dog's, you know what? We gonna have a problem. All right, we're gonna go ahead and keep it moving, because Colts GM Chris Ballard needs a history lesson, apparently. Listen, when speaking on the 4-game absence of Jonathan Taylor due to the running back being placed on the PUP list after the team failed to find a desirable trade for him, Colts GM Chris Ballard said he doesn't think the running back's absence will hinder quarterback Anthony Richardson's growth. He said, quote, "Did it stunt Andrew Luck's growth without a special back? Well, kinda." Well, here's the video. Take a listen.
Do you think that stunts Anthony's growth or hinders his early development, not having Jonathan next to him?
Well, look, when you don't have a great player, but I don't think it stunts his growth. No, not at all. But it doesn't, I don't know. Did it stunt Andrew's growth without a special back?
So, history lesson much? I think that you can kind of say that it did stunt Andrew Luck's growth not having a special back, because he retired a lot earlier than he probably would have due to what? Injury. How do you prevent injuries from your quarterback? You run the football. How can you run the football? With a running back. So I don't really know what version of Andrew Luck's career he's referring to.
Right. So, Ashley, there's a lot here. The first thing I would say is this is not a Chris Ballard GM situation. It is an owner, Jim Irsay situation. It's clear that he is the one that is leading the charge around how they operate and do business with the running back. If you're a running back, I repeat, if you're a running back, do not go to Indy. I like Chris Ballard. I think he's one of the best football minds that we have ever seen. I think he's excellent at it. If this quarterback gets it done, okay, you'll see this team as contenders year in and year out. That's how much I believe in Chris Ballard. But if you're a running back, do not go to Indy. The way the Irsay family views the running back position is like how some dudes view the side chick. You're never going to get a ring, okay? Let's go back in history. Oh, Marshall Faulk, is he a Hall of Famer? He is a Hall of Famer. Did he get a second contract? He did not. So what makes you think you're going to get a second contract? Okay, but if you want to be the side chick and go there for a couple years, then that's fine. But if you want to be the main, don't go there. Let's fast forward to when they let Marshall Faulk go. When they traded Marshall Faulk, they went in the draft in the first round, and who did they pick? Adrian James. Was he a Hall of Famer? Did he become a Hall of Famer? He did. But how did they approach him and do business with him? Did he ever get the ring? No, he did not. He played his rookie deal through, and then he got tagged, and then he was let go. Well, free to go into the market. Everybody else can have you for everybody else. That's what they did. And then when they let him go, they went and they invested in another high draft pick in Joseph Adai. That's what they did. So if you're a running back, don't go there. And here's what I would say, Ashley. The last thing I would say is I don't think that Jim Irsay is wrong. This is how they do business, because you got to look at the history of these owners and how they approach things. They're telling you their philosophies. They're telling you how they do business. They're telling you what they value. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're a zone blitz team, and they like to run the ball. That's what they do, and they've been doing it forever. It starts from the Rooney family. The Ravens, they play amazing defense. Do you know how many defensive coordinators the Ravens have had over the years? And guess what? Their defense never changes. Why? Because the owner and Ozzie Newsome, who's now in a more of a leadership position, not the general manager running the day-to-day, but it's like, yo, this is our defense, Mr. Coordinator. The teams are telling you what they're into. The Patriots, they've been running the same offense for 20-something years from day one. Now, do they have like new little wrinkles here and there? Absolutely. Special plays for special moments? Absolutely. But all these offensive coordinators that come and go, they're doing the same thing. And you go on to the Bears, the Monsters of the Midway, but the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
They like stars. So I say that because they're showing you exactly who they are. I don't think Jim Irsay is necessarily wrong, but you just got to know what you're getting into. They're going to draft you or they're going to have you. You'll do your thing. And then once it's time to pay you, they may tag you or they may let you go. Why? Because they've had, Peyton Manning for so long. Then they had Andrew Luck. That is their philosophy. We get a quarterback. We have all these pieces around us. And then the running back is disposable. And it's the same thing. The same approach that the Shanahans have. Coach Mike Shanahan and now his son, Kyle Shanahan. That's their business.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Colts over history, it's that saying when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And I think the Colts have shown that they value the quarterback position over the running back position, which I think a lot of teams do. But I think the difference is that they view running backs so disposable that they don't most of the time even want to pay them after they've been drafted to the organization. Now, I will say the only difference that I would say between the Andrew Luck situation and the Anthony Richardson situation is that did it hinder Andrew Luck's growth as a quarterback? No, he still was a phenomenal quarterback, a great quarterback for while he was playing when he was healthy. But I did think it hindered his career, if that makes sense, because it hindered his health by byproduct, which shortened his career. So in a sense, he's right when it said it didn't hinder his growth, but he's wrong when looking at the bigger picture in that he probably would have played longer had he had a special back to take some of that load off of him, and he didn't. Now, Anthony Richardson, people will say, well, he's a different type of quarterback. He's more of a running quarterback. True. So there may be some slight differences in how he's able to maneuver without Jonathan Taylor for the first 4 games. But this ideology that a quarterback and, a special back are not intertwined with each other, regardless of what type of quarterback it is, I don't think is factual. And I think it's a crappy narrative to continue to push out there.
Well, one, I agree with you. Yes. But 2, like Chris Ballard was put in a tough position. And that's why I opened with, this is a more Jim Irsay thing. Chris Ballard's been quiet this whole time. Chris Ballard has a phenomenal reputation throughout the entire NFL. What I mean by that, from owners down to players, right? Like, people respect Chris Ballard, how he conducts himself. So now it's your time to sit at the podium and answer questions, and you're not prepared. And you say something like this because, Ashley, you are right. And I would actually maybe push back just a little bit on maybe it held him back in both categories, right? Because if you do have a running back, it's going to make everything better.
Easier,
You know what I'm saying? So, was Andrew Luck phenomenal? Yes, he was. But could he have been better if he had a running game?
Absolutely.
They had nothing around this guy. No offensive line, no running game. So, it definitely hurt. It definitely hurt Andrew Luck.
For sure. And Chris, again, history lesson. Not only did Andrew Luck not have a special back to take the load off of him, but you guys gave him a crappy offensive line that had him getting his bell rung every single time he touched the football. So not only are you rewriting history in terms of Andrew Luck and his dependency on a running back or lack thereof, you're also forgetting the team didn't give him an offensive line, which is also highly important when you have a quarterback who's getting smacked around like a rag doll all the time. Like, I don't understand.
Well, and let's take the Colts out of it. Let's take Andrew Luck out of it. Let's take just a elite running back out of it. I think good ball is having a strong running game, right? So even if you, like even Peyton Manning and Tom Brady's of the world, if you don't have a running game that mirrors the passing game, or there's continuity between the two, you make the passing game harder. There's only a few quarterbacks. There's only been a few quarterbacks in the history of our game that's been able to just say, we're getting it done throwing the ball. But one of the reasons why Lamar Jackson and the Ravens struggled in the passing game is because there was two different offenses. The passing game felt like spread and dink and dunk. And then the running game was it was power. It was so efficient. So when you try to do play action and boots and keepers, people are like, it's like, you never did anything look like this. And I'm trying to give a lot of football in a short time, but it's hard. But basically what I'm saying, Ashley, if our running game, if I do this 20 times, this is my running game, 20 times, okay? Now, if I go like this and pull it, and then run out and then throw it, right? What happens is that secondary, that second level, those linebackers, maybe those safeties that's up, they come up to the line of scrimmage, which creates a huge void behind. So what we're doing on offense is we're showing you one thing. We're getting you guys to come up into the line of scrimmage, to come attack the run, and then we'll pull it out, and then right there behind you guys, there's these huge voids. But when it doesn't connect, right? So I'm doing this, and then all of a sudden I try to do a boot, and I actually run all the way over here like a fake. The linebacker's like, I don't know what that is, and they just sit there. So there has to be a relationship, a great relationship, a healthy relationship with any quarterback and any offense if you want to be efficient.
Before we move on from this conversation, I mean, let's dive into a little bit Anthony Richardson. We keep talking about quarterbacks and comparing quarterbacks that once were in the Colts organization. We mentioned Peyton, obviously Andrew Luck. Anthony Richardson, what are we expecting from him overall, but specifically these first 4 games without Jonathan Taylor?
I think Anthony Richardson can be special. Ashley, we really don't know who he is, right? Like, he didn't have this big career at Florida. You know, he's we do know he's a super talent. Maybe in that space when you're like, you know, Cam Newton. You mentioned Cam Newton. Even Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson brings something different to the table. So you know he has that. You know, there was something interesting that came out yesterday or 2 days ago. Josh Allen said that he did some type of, you know, digital footprint of his mechanics, and it totally changed how he plays ball. And Anthony Richardson was the only one that did it. And he said you can see how his form, like how amazing his form is, right? And the reason why I say that is because we know that he can run the ball. We know that he's a freak athlete. But if this dude's able to get it done like a Josh Allen through the air as well, where there's games where he throws for 300, 400 yards, look out. Look out. Like, that's who his comparison is Josh Allen. So when you think about Anthony Richardson, I'm not thinking about Cam Newton. Cam Newton, who I love, and he had an MVP year in 2015. Cam Newton, I think the best year he had was 3,000 yards through the air. That's it. Cam Newton was dynamic because he got it done in so many different ways. He was Superman. Anthony Richardson, to me, could be Josh Allen, getting it done on the ground and also having games where
big comparison.
Where he throws for 300, 400.
He does have exceptional arm talent, though. That was one of his pros.
And coachable.
Yeah.
And coachable. It seems like a great person. So, like, I'd rather compare him to Josh Allen than to Cam Newton any day.
Okay. Well, time will tell. Football officially starts in a week and some days from now. Brandon, I know you've been waiting a very long time for this to come back around. Football season, NFL season kicks off after Labor Day weekend, Thursday Night Football. We are back. We're going to continue in the world of football, and I know the chat can't wait to start getting riled up about this one because we're going to talk Dallas Cowboys football, everybody. Yay!
What, you going for clicks?
The chat hates when we talk about the Cowboys.
No, they don't.
They absolutely do. They say we talk about the Cowboys way too much.
We talk about the Cowboys less than anybody else podcasting or doing sports.
I promise you, read the comments as I mention this next story. They are not going to be thrilled about this one. But I digress. Here we go.
Can you stop giving them disclaimers?
I'm not a disclaimer. They're going to hear it anyway.
Every time we talk Cowboys, you tell them like, oh, we
look. Read the comments. Boo! Oh Lord! Da, 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 da. Listen, yeah.
Yes, we do. Boo, boo. Cowboys again. Golly.
Yes, we are. We're gonna talk some Dak Prescott for a second.
Oh, this is crazy. I'd never seen this before.
The Cowboys are the most hated and the most loved team in America.
This
there you
is
go.
Crazy. We got to talk about the Cowboys. What y'all talking
How about them Cowboys?
Y'all
You know
wanna see what Dak do?
I think next week I'm going to come to the show. I don't know what day. Probably maybe Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
The first day of the NFL season. I'm going to come to the show in a Cowboys jersey just to piss y'all off. I'm going to do that. I don't know which jersey I'm going to wear.
Maybe wear the hat too.
Maybe CeeDee Lamb and maybe Dak Prescott.
No.
Maybe
Deuce.
I can't bring out Zeke.
Deuce.
I don't have a Deuce Vaughn.
We got to get one.
Okay, well I'm going to use one that I already have in my closet, and I can't use Zeke because he's no longer a Cowboy.
I'm gonna get you one because we may be in Dallas this Sunday.
I'm gonna do my CD or my Dak. But in the meantime, listen, is Dak Prescott the most overly criticized quarterback in the NFL? Listen, everybody hates Dak Prescott apparently, but should they? The Dallas Cowboys currently are averaging 29.9 points per game with Dak Prescott since 2019. Now, this is the highest PPG among all teams and quarterbacks during that span. And we still have national media members and fans like the people in the chat believing that Dak Prescott is not good. Brandon, you once upon a time had a conversation on this very show.
That's right.
Comparing Dak Prescott to other elite quarterbacks in the NFL and made a case that the hate is not warranted based on the numbers. So,
that's right.
Go ahead.
So at the end of the day, what are we trying to accomplish, right? We're trying to win games. That's number one. We're trying to be productive and do our job. And so, the best way for us to look at who is actually being productive, who's winning games, is looking at the numbers, right? And so, yes, Ashley, probably a couple months ago, I just said, let me look at, Dak's numbers compared to Ben Roethlisberger's, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. And what you saw through the first 8 years is his numbers right up there with the greats. And then also, I was watching Kimberly Martin this morning, and she was like, yeah, we talk so bad about Dak Prescott, but if you look over the last 10 years, who's been, the most efficient at the quarterback position, he's like fifth behind Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, and like one or two others, but all like retired legends, future Hall of Famers, or the best in the game right now. So look at Dak's, look at it. What do you want? What else do you want? Like, what do you want? What
they want his blood and his unborn child.
But I will say this though, Ashley, right? Because people like the Cowboys, and it's like people talk about, well, when you talk about the Cowboys, you get more views, right? So like maybe that's it. When because he's the quarterback of the Cowboys, it just comes with that. It's like this particular quarterback position, because nobody else is getting talked about like this. But it's insane. I would love to have a quarterback like Dak Prescott. I had 18 quarterbacks. Like I had Tyler Thigpen. I had Kyle Orton. I had so many guys. I had guys with 2-3 ribs, like broken, like trying to throw me the ball. Look at the completions through the first 7 seasons, and then look at Drew Brees.
Well,
look at Ben Roethlisberger. Look at Tom Brady. Then go to yards. Look at this. Hold on 1 second. Let's really sit here a little bit, Ashley, please. Look at touchdowns. He got more touchdowns through the first 7 years than freaking Drew Brees. And Ben Roethlisberger. And he's behind Tom Brady. Tom Brady the GOAT. We'll discuss that later. But come on, man, give it a break. I can talk about this forever, Ashley, but come on.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because I'm on your side.
Are you a Cowboy
No.
or not?
It is my job as a journalist to play devil's advocate here. Okay? But I am on your side. Nobody in this world rides harder for Dak Prescott than your girl. That is my QB. That's my QB1.
And then the interceptions, Ashley. Oh, he throws the ball low. He turns the ball over so much. Please take out the lower third really quick, BC, please. And then I'm sorry for cutting you off, Ashley. But that's the biggest one. I ain't even hit that. Tom Brady threw more interceptions than Dak Prescott through the first 7 years. And Drew Brees. Come on, give me a break.
Listen, I'm not trying to debate you. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. You already know I ride for my QB1. What T.O. say? That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. That's me when we talk about Dak Prescott. But a pushback will be, when you look at the numbers of these guys, absolutely right. Dak Prescott statistically is aligned with all of these guys, right? I'm agreeing with you there. The pushback has always been, what did Drew Brees, Big Ben, and Tom Brady do in their first 7 seasons?
They won a Super Bowl. All right, then let's talk about that then.
Let's talk about that then.
But okay, that's great. All right. So what's the alternative, Mr. and Mrs. General Managers out there? Everybody who think they know everything, what's the alternative? You want to go in the draft and go get Johnny Manziel? You want to go in the draft and go get Baker Mayfield? You want to go in the draft and go get come on, we go on and on. All these busts. What is the alternative? He put you in position to win. That's all you want. Ashley, I'm glad she's playing devil's advocate. But Ashley, didn't you say, and I ain't even gonna give you this type of energy right now because you're just trying to make sure our viewers
give it to me. What did I say?
No, because I was going to come at you like we were really debating. We're not. You're just trying to have a balanced conversation because this is an important part of the conversation. Yeah,
tell me what I said. I can go ahead and, what did I say?
Did he keep Jared, what's his name, the coach?
Oh, absolutely.
Did he keep Jason Garrett
Here's Jason
10 years longer than he's supposed
My
to be
pushback has always been, and we have had this conversation multiple times, and we had this conversation, I remember when we were still only on radio. With all the guys, we had this conversation. I understand that the quarterback gets the glory and the quarterback gets the criticism. But when you actually dive into it, and I know it's fun to blame the quarterback and say he sucks, he's a bust, he's not a winner. It's fun. It's clickbait. I get it. But if you're going to go ahead and actually have an intelligent, well-rounded conversation about statistics as a player and lack of wins as a player, you also have to look at the whole picture. Yes, and for a portion of Dak Prescott's career, I'm not taking blame away from him because there has been times that he has not performed to the way he should have when it counts the most. And that is what? In the postseason, in the playoffs, right? The numbers don't lie. The record does not lie. We can't also ignore the fact that football, much like basketball, is a team sport. A lot has to go right for things to happen. You have to make sure your offense is going right. You have to make sure your wide receivers are catching passes. You have to make sure your defense is doing your job. You have to make sure you have the right head coach in play. You have to make sure your defensive coordinator is making the right calls. Your offensive coordinator is making the right calls. So I get it. It's fun. It's sexy. It's polarizing to only blame Dak Prescott. But if we're going to have a conversation about Super Bowls and wins and losses and compare him against Drew Brees and Big Ben and Tom Brady, we have to look at the whole picture. And those guys that I just named did not win Super Bowls by themselves.
So yes, Ashley, I need to jump in the chat more. Oh my goodness. King Cook.
Here we go.
Oh, so now Dak ain't never had great players around him, B. Marsh? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Is that how you think it sounds?
That's how the King Cook.
Okay.
King Cook. Stop. Why are you doing that? Brandon Marshall, Ashley Nicole Moss, sitting here live on Sirius XM. Back to talk paper round. Yo, y'all know I can't read. Y'all know I can't read. They used to ask me, bro, what's your major? I'm walking around campus, bro, what's your major? I'm majoring in football.
Like hey, Bobby Boucher? Yeah, Mama said foosball's the devil.
Let me stop playing into the sticker, but my coach definitely, my high school coach, right before I was about to take off, we were on the track and we running. We training, right? Getting ready to go to UCF. And shout out to UCF tonight. We got a big game tonight. Yeah, UCF. Golden Knights run onto the field with your spirit will never year. But anyways, right before I'm about to go to UCF, Darnell Harrison look at me, Showtime. And he's like, bro, what you going to major in when you get to school? I'm like, football. I'm thinking, no, computer engineering.
Oh, cool.
I was like, computer engineering. And he looked at me like this. He said, let me tell you a story. He said, I was in the same situation before I was about to take off the school. And my mentor looked at me and asked me the same question. And I said, business. And he looked at me and said, boy, your major football. So, anyways, it's just a cool little story.
Resetting.
King Cook.
There you go.
King Cook. Pause. He said, oh, so now Dak ain't never had great players around him. B. Marsh, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, blue cap. Okay? So basically that's saying, that generation saying I'm capping. Okay? All right, so the year Dak snapped his ankle, they were averaging 500 yards a game. Dak Prescott was phenomenal. What happened on the other side? And this has been the problem up until literally the last 2 years of Dak's run. The defense wasn't better than UCF's defense. Trash.
That's true.
Trash. Like they were giving up 800 yards a game. And that's cap. I ain't do my research on that part of the argument. But that's been the problem in Dallas, man. I used to lick my chops going down there to play or them coming to me. Why? Because I knew I was going to have 100-something yards in them and maybe 2 touchdowns. Too easy. That defense, remember I was saying earlier how these owners, that stick around for a long time, they have their philosophy. They've been trying to play this defense the same way, and you getting one-on-one coverage. You want all the smoke. So, yes, Dak has had players around him. So defensively, they had stars, okay? Offensively, they had some players. They had some dogs. But, man, if your defense play the way they play, you don't got no chance. I am sorry. So, yes, Dak has had players around him, but, they finally got it right. And that's where the pressure is on Dak right now. Because this defense is not, I like this defense. That's why I got him coming out the NFC, Ashley.
Defense is nice.
I like this defense. Dan Quinn, Jerry Jones, enjoy it while it lasts. Because Dan Quinn probably out of there after this year. And
Chill. That's our future head coach.
And then on the offense, you brought in Archer. You brought in Archer. And then you got CeeDee Lamb. And then what's the other receiver y'all got?
Michael Gallup.
Ooh, Michael Gallup. And then you got the rookie of the year, future rookie of the year, Deuce Vaughn. And you already got who at the running back position?
Tony Pollard.
All right. I'm done. I digress.
Well, football season's a week and some days away. Next week, you will see me front and center. And you know what? I might just wear multiple Cowboy jerseys in the week just to piss y'all off. I'm going to go Dak one day, CD the next day. I might even bring out a vintage Des Bryant just to spice things up a little bit. Maybe every day a different Cowboys jersey. Call my bluff. I dare you. Anyway, we're going to talk some NBA real quick before we get into a football topic to close out the show. Richard Sherman is certainly making his mark on Undisputed, and not always for the better. In this case, not for the better. On today's episode of FS1's Undisputed, Richard Sherman had the bright idea that the Lakers and Bucks should discuss a swap between Anthony Davis and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Twitter had some things to say. Roll that clip.
We talking about Giannis, so right now I got to keep it a buck. You see what I did there? In Lakerland, you got to be a superstar. Like, if there's a top 20 player available at any point in time in the Lakers' history, they're going to be involved in it. There's so many jerseys hanging up in the rafters. There's so much history. Great big men. LeBron had to come. He talked about why he came, because of the star power in L.A. Kobe Bean Bryant, rest in peace. Star power in L.A. If there's a great player, we're going to be involved. But you know what I think is going to happen? Because he got 2 years. You saying this, Giannis, nobody wants to come to Milwaukee as is. So now you're saying I may not even be here. How are you going to expect another superstar to come commit to a future with you? But you know what you're doing? You're alerting the Milwaukee Bucks, hey, might be time to move me early. And what do the Lakers have that they can move? Anthony Davis just signed a contract. Their numbers probably match up just right. And it's the kind of thing Rob Pelinka would do. You can't do it till December because he just signed an extension. But is that something that could happen? Giannis and LeBron James, there's potential there. I'm not saying it could happen. I haven't heard anything. I don't know anything. But I'm just saying, in Lakerland, that's the kind of stuff we expect. That's the magic dust. Because if they traded for Giannis, that'd be the kind of move that gets them ahead of what, potentially losing him for nothing later on. You get Anthony Davis, another great player in the National Basketball Association. LeBron gets to play with arguably, debatably, the best player in basketball right now, again, and you get more star power in L.A. I think it makes sense for everybody.
Whether you come now or later, we certainly will take you.
Well, Well, Richard Sherman, you got a few things wrong there, my guy. First of all, that trade can't happen in December because Anthony Davis signed a contract extension and he would not be eligible for a trade until February 2024. So that makes things a little complicated. Also, there's no way in hell that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to trade the two-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, world champion Giannis Antetokounmpo, to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, who, when he is great, he is absolutely fantastic. He is phenomenal. He is one of the best when he's available, when he's healthy, which we know throughout the course of a season is very hit or miss. So if I were the Milwaukee Bucks and you called me from the Los Angeles Lakers front office and said, hey, let's swap guys, I would hang up the phone a lot quicker than probably you've ever been hung up on in your life. That is asinine. I wouldn't even lose sleep over it. I wouldn't even consider it. I wouldn't even bat an eyelash towards it. It's not happening. You don't trade a consistent player for a great yet inconsistent player. It's not happening. Not today, not tomorrow, and not February 2024 when Anthony Davis would actually be eligible for a trade.
Ashley. That's why you hurt. I'm gonna tell you that because I was literally like when listening to Richard Sherman, I was like, bravo! It's hard for a football player to go up there and talk that talking basketball. Y'all witnessed all basketball season. I got cooked. You cooked me. I'm like, yo, Richard Sherman did a phenomenal job. So I was about to come out here and stand alongside of my guy, But hey, you know what they say? I'm with you when you right. I can't be with him on this one. Because those are big facts. You got to know your stuff when you're up here and you got a camera and a mic in front of you, and you got to be on point. And so Richard put himself in a tough spot. But I think he got a chance to talk some high-level basketball. As you talk about hanging up the phone extremely fast, somebody asked that trade. Do you think this is worse than what the Colts wanted from the Dolphins, right? Like, they said, all right, we want Jonathan Taylor, but we you got to give us Jalen Waddle. Is that worse?
No, it's not worse. It's not worse at all because Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle are similar in age.
Right.
It's drastically different. I mean, you're talking about Giannis and Anthony Davis, and I said when AD is on, he is on. We say this all the time. He is a pivotal part of the Lakers and their win and loss, and their wins and losses when he is on. But that's too inconsistent to trade one of the best players we have seen in modern basketball to the Lakers for. And also, let's be honest, like the Bucks aren't trading Giannis. He would have to leave in free agents. Why would they trade him?
I hate when you do that. You don't give the players no power. Like you give the owners
what I'm saying
all the leverage.
is
I'm saying like he can like
Giannis has already said that if he won't re-sign, he's not going to leave, but he's not going to re-sign with the Bucks if they are not where they need to be competitive.
Correct.
So he's made it clear he's not going to leave, but he's also not 100% all the way in on re-signing if they are not where they need to be. So losing him in free agency is a very high possibility. Him being traded, I don't see that.
That's what I mean. That little gray area is where like I'm like, damn, why you don't give the player no power? Situation James Harden was in, and again, Dame Lillard, the situation that Giannis in, like and Joel Embiid. So you if Giannis wanted out, let's say next year, you don't think he can get out?
If he wanted out, of course he could get out, but he would have to ask out, and he's already made it clear in so many ways that that's not something that he would do. Again, people change that.
He also said that he didn't want to leave. Remember, and everybody was talking about like the loyalty thing, and because he's a player from Africa, so this.
He even said when he re-signed with the Bucks, either last season or the season before that, he said multiple times he doesn't know if he will be a Buck forever. He's made that very clear. He's won a championship in the city. They've tried to compete and be competitive for another one. It hasn't happened yet, but he's made it very clear. He's been very transparent that re-signing in Milwaukee may not happen. Mm-hmm. So I don't see Giannis as the type of player to force his way out before his deal is done. He seems to be someone who sees it through completely. But I don't think that means that he is not going to, if the time comes and it's time to decide where he's going, if he says this team is not in a space to compete and win another one, he 100% will leave. Mm-hmm. I just don't see that happening before that time. I think he will see through his deal. He just strikes me as that kind of player. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
But we will see.
But all right, let's take the he missed on a couple of facts. That's why, he put himself in
a little
a tough
bit.
position. But do you
this adds to the whole football player basketball thing.
Narrative. That's just details. That's just details of do you understand, the CBA over here and the rules and things, not so much the rules but the business, right? Like when is the trade deadline, et cetera, et cetera. You don't think he did a good job like communicating though?
No, his point was infactual.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like the art and science.
He speaks well. He's articulate. Nobody ever doubted that. I mean, he's Ivy League educated, so no one's ever, all pro Stanford graduate. Stanford's Ivy League. Yeah. So I mean, I'm never gonna come for Richard Sherman's articulation and intelligence. He's extremely smart.
Did he go to school for school, or did he go to school for football?
I'm pretty sure he graduated.
A lot of us graduated.
No, but I'm pretty sure he graduated well. Somebody fact check me on that.
I'm not gonna play in the stigma. Richard Sherman is extremely smart.
He's super smart, just like Fitz.
That's why I said the art and science of it. It's beautiful.
Just like Fitz Magic, he's smart too.
Like for me, like day one, since I was 6-7 years old, I'm going to the NFL. That was my thought, and it wasn't until I was halfway through the league where I'm like, all right. I'm more than a football player. This is not my purpose. This might be my platform, but it's not my purpose. And I feel like a lot of us struggle with that. We'll transition here, but I feel like a lot of us athletes struggle with that, and that's why we struggle maybe post-career. So a lot of us or some of us struggle post-careers because our identity is wrapped up in the sport, right? And it's like, no, you got to figure out who you are outside of the game. What other interests do you have, hobbies, or what else do you want to create or build or work on? So,
well, listen, just for everybody wondering, Richard Sherman graduated from Stanford in 2010 with a degree in communications with a 4.2 GPA, which makes him salutatorian. So he's Ivy League educated, graduated, very intelligent.
Lady in here. Someone in here said Stanford is not. So
I'm pretty sure Stanford is Ivy League.
Beagler 42. Stanford ain't Ivy League. Laugh out loud.
Ivy League. I'm pretty sure Stanford's considered
is a high prestigious academic school, though. Okay.
I'm gonna look it up.
Brandon, that was a nasty question. What was a nasty question? Over the Ropes Wrestling Podcast? What did I say? Brandon really should be spearheading a retreat center for athletes. That's House of Athlete right here. We're doing it. No, it's a mess with you. No, I love that idea. We're working on that. We've been doing that.
So Stanford technically is not Ivy League, but they actually rank it better than Harvard. So they're not they're
like him.
They're not Ivy League, but I thought Stanford was considered Ivy League.
Let's hold Ashley Nicole Moss.
No, I mean,
go out there and say, well, you can't get traded. She jump on my man because he say, December they'll be able to trade, but it really is February, okay? And so now you said Stanford.
Stanford should be Ivy League. The fact that Stanford and MIT are not Ivy League is actually kind of the only reason that they're not Ivy League is because they're not like the pretentious legacy like of Yale and Harvard and Columbia and things like that.
Don't do
Princeton.
That. Don't do
Stanford's an extremely high education institute, just like MIT. You have to be a genius to get into those schools.
Okay.
Like a genius. But
UCF should be Ivy League as well for football because we got a game tonight. That's right. Stadium's going to be rocking. UCF run onto the field with our spirit. We'll never yield. We're screaming black. Go. Victories are only cry. VICTORY. Tonight our nights will shine. Oh, nights. You don't know your song.
I do, but I'm not going to sing that.
You don't know it. Give me a little bit.
No, I refuse. Listen, to close out the show today, we have a very interesting topic, and that is Joe Montana. You may have heard of him. Maybe not. Just some quarterback. Yeah. Joe Montana says that Dan Marino is the GOAT, not Tom Brady. Listen, he said, quote, put Marino into today's game where he gets free release and his receivers, holy cow, weren't very big. Now these guys are 6'4", 6'5". I think Marino is probably one of the most unsung heroes of the game. People don't talk enough about him or realize the numbers that he put up during the time that he put them up. Montana goes on to say that Patrick Mahomes has the potential to surpass Dan Marino as the GOAT eventually. He says, quote, the things he does and is able to do are so different than what any other quarterback out there does who's out there. Now, we actually spoke to Lawrence Taylor once upon a time, and it's interesting that Joe Montana has Dan Marino as his GOAT because Lawrence Taylor, LT, told us that Joe Montana, not Tom Brady, is the GOAT. Check this clip out.
We talk about GOATs and we talk about greatness. Some people have a very specific idea what that looks like, what that person looks like. You know, we talk about Tom Brady, and outside of, his recent personal issues, there hasn't been anything about Brady that can make anybody say,
what does that
right.
You think
but that's my point. Do people acknowledge the layers of greatness, and that greatness doesn't always come in one form, one persona, one look, one career, one lifestyle, that it can exist? It's a very broad spectrum of what that looks like.
Joe Montana's still my man. He's still my man. I mean, let's just say, hey, a greatest quarterback stuff. Hey, I'm still with Joe Montana. I'm not going with Tom Brady.
Why?
Man, listen. Tom Brady got all the rules on his side. You can't touch him. He said, listen, you can't touch him. If you hit him, if you breathe on him, they're going to throw a flag. I don't understand how he drops back 8 yards and he's sitting in a little cocoon and they're not sending people at him. Why the defense not sending people? Man, let me tell you something. See, and that would have been a penalty because if I was playing, I'm hitting him every play. Listen, even if I had this pat on my ass, I was right there beside you, brother.
All right, so we have the comparison of Joe Montana. Well, Joe Montana says Dan Marino is the GOAT, not Tom Brady. LT says Joe Montana is the GOAT, not Tom Brady. The general consensus is the OGs in the game don't think Tom Brady is the GOAT. Brandon, you say he's the GOAT. You said there can only be one GOAT, and for you, it is Tom Brady. What are Joe Montana and LT missing about Tom Brady's greatness?
Well, it's the same conversation that we have in basketball. We just talked about, comparing careers of Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and is there a disconnect clearly between, this generation and the OGs that came before us, right? They, we didn't see them play, right? In their era, whether it's basketball or football, they consider it tougher, and they consider, this era more like easier and softer, right? So I truly believe that's the disconnect. But at the end of the day, I view this discussion the same way I view the basketball discussion, a difference between the best and who's the greatest, right? Tom Brady, it's clear. Like you had Joe Montana come out and do some amazing things, won 4 Super Bowls, 3 MVPs, just crazy. And then you have Tom Brady. Tom Brady came along and shattered all of that. 7 Super Bowls, and I don't even know how many MVPs, but it's Tom Brady. We can't even. To me, why is this even a debate? But now you infuse Dan Marino. Dan Marino was like that, but you got to understand, back then, we didn't throw the ball the way we throw the ball now. But Dan Marino, I'm going to give you another name that people may not even think about, but Boomer Esiason, they were kind of the first guys to go into spread offense and throw it all around the field. Like, we just going to play defense and run the ball 3 times in a row? Hell no. Like, they were the ones that opened it up. So when you think about them and you look at their stats, it's because they were like the first. And so Dan Marino was like that. But when it comes down, greatness and who's the best, let's say who's the best. I think when it's all said and done, it's probably going to be Patrick Mahomes. But right now, to me, when you just take away the eras, like there's nobody that plays the quarterback position better than Aaron Rodgers to me. Mm-hmm. Like Aaron Rodgers. All right, and then it will be Patrick Mahomes. But now we're talking about who is the GOAT, because you got to compare. You got to put all those things in there. It's going to be Tom Brady for a very long time until somebody surpasses all the things that he has done. But and then look at this guy. What makes Tom Brady Tom Brady? What makes Michael Jordan Michael Jordan? What makes Serena Williams and Kobe Bryant, et cetera, et cetera? It's their mindset. You put any of those athletes in any of these eras, they're still going to be successful. They're still going to be who they are. So that's why, this whole conversation is ridiculous to me. Dan Marino was drinking every night. Tom Brady was eating avocado ice cream.
I mean, that doesn't really matter.
It does matter because
Michael Jordan was gambling.
Yeah, and he played 13 years.
Right. So
it's mindset. It's killer instinct. Like, I'm saying Michael Jordan coming into this era is still going to be successful. And the reason why when I brought up avocado ice cream and that is because I'm comparing Dan Marino now. I didn't go back to Michael Jordan. Dan Marino and Tom Brady. Who is the best? Who's the greatest? Whatever. And you put Tom Brady, you put Dan Marino in this era. Yes, Dan Marino might be the Josh Allen of this era, but he ain't Tom Brady.
Yeah, one thing I hate when we have these conversations, regardless across the board when it comes to various sports, is that people use era as a way to discredit what a player has done currently, right? So Tom Brady is, one of the knocks against him is the era in which he played in, and the rules were different, and this was different, and that was different. That's the era he played in. That doesn't take away from his greatness. That doesn't take away from his skill set. That doesn't take away from the fact that the man has 7 Super Bowl rings. Like, I understand that eras matter in terms of really dissecting who could have played longer, who could have played in what era, but I don't think it defines greatness. That's why when people say, I didn't watch Michael Jordan play, so I can't label him the GOAT. I don't think that's a fair assessment, because that shouldn't stop you from doing your research. Now, whether or not he's your GOAT is a different story, but I don't know how you can not recognize the greatness of Michael Jordan just because he played in a different era, or just because you yourself couldn't witness him play. Mm-hmm. I don't see how you can take away from the greatness that is Tom Brady just because he played in an era that maybe benefited him as a quarterback differently than it did Dan Marino, differently than it did Joe Montana. The greatness of Tom Brady would be there regardless. Now, would it have resulted in 7 rings? Maybe, maybe not. He still would have been the Tom Brady that he is if he played 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Greatness is not an era thing. The only thing that's an era thing is the logistics of the game. And I hate when people use eras and rules and regulations to take away from the accomplishments of a player. I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's a fair assessment.
You know what you just did? You just actually agreed with me. But
I did.
But you tried to give me some stuff when I brought up Michael Jordan.
No.
That's what I was trying to say. I'm like, the mindset, like what makes them who they are.
Not just the mindset, the skill set.
They're going to be who they are in any era.
You can't blame Brady for being born in 1970, wherever he was born. Like, that's not his fault.
But some players, though. No, there are some players that can't.
Yes, there are some players who cannot. It does not translate. Yes,
it doesn't translate.
Absolutely. It's for example, a LeBron would still be a great player in the 90s.
Right.
Some players' game translates, some players don't, but I think there are players whose greatness transcends the era which they play in, and Tom Brady is that player. I don't care what era you're referring to. Tom Brady is the greatest.
I know we probably run out of time, but you know whose game translate in any era?
Who?
Ben Simmons. I bring that up because we haven't hit it all week. Remember,
Point guard?
Ben Simmons, he came out and said, basically, what did he say this week?
We'll have to save it for next week because we don't have time.
Yeah. Can you end the show and then we finish the video? Do the thing that you did yesterday.
Oh, okay. This has been Paper Route. Another week of Paper Route on Sirius XM Faction Talk 103. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate you for listening, and have a happy, healthy, and safe Labor Day weekend. Enjoy it. Eat some good food. Get comfortable, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Now, can we keep the video going really quickly? Just take 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to talk about this. What did Ben Simmons say?
I don't have that quote in front of me, so I can't.
Didn't he say he's going to his intentions are to dominate, not just come back, but to dominate the game or something like that?
I think that he said he would, if he went against the player he was last year, that he would kill him, and that he plans on being the Brooklyn Nets starting point guard.
Right. So the reason why I brought that up, because we were talking about games that translate. A lot of people got on him about his statement. I think to me, it's all mental for Ben, right? Like, I think Ben is a super talent. He's freakish, right? What he can do at his size, right? And if he's able to overcome the mental component, whatever was going on, then wouldn't his game continue to wouldn't he continue to evolve and play at a high level, like the same thing that he was doing the first 2-3 years, right?
You would assume so.
Right. Because, you compare him to Magic Johnson, Magic.
That was his player comp.
Look at the statistics. First couple years, the first 3 years before he went off the rails. And then you look at Magic's overall. They're dead on. And I think for guys like Ben, and this is a message for all athletes, and it's like you got to be yourself. You got to be comfortable with who you are. But now we talk about, okay, this era, we talk about, you got to 3 and D. 3 and D. Just you got to shoot. Everybody got to shoot. Well, he's not a shooter. That's not his game. Just play your game, and you can still impact the game in a major way. I'm going to give you 15, 16 points. I'm going to give you 7 to 8 assists. Right? I'm going to give you 7 to 8 rebounds. You wouldn't want that on your team?
For sure.
Right. So I just wanted to talk about that, hit that before we go, because it's already out the news, but just my thoughts. I wish we talked about it Monday or Tuesday.
I don't think it came out till yesterday.
No, it was Monday or Tuesday he said that.
Oh, Tuesday, yeah, where the Mark Spears profile came out, yeah.
Right.
Well, it was cut day on Tuesday, too. We had to dive into that heavily.
And we had an interview.
And we had Caleb Plant. We've had a busy week.
We had Jewel.
We had Jewel Lloyd. We didn't have enough time. Listen, guys, we want to thank you so much for tuning in for another week of Paper Route. Like I said, it is Labor Day weekend, the last weekend of summer. This signifies the closing of summer. I feel like summer came and went really quick. Don't you feel like that?
I thought no, because I remember I said I wanted to be a hot boy, have a hot boy summer.
Did you have a hot boy summer?
Hell no, I ain't do nothing.
Oh, damn. Well,
I gotta wait.
Now, you're lucky you live in Miami, so you can
that's trash.
Summer's really never ending. But if you haven't already joined the I Am Athlete Fantasy League, go ahead and do that. We will be back next week, the premiere week of the return of NFL football, everybody. So excited. I'll be showing up in my many different Cowboy jerseys. Y'all think I'm playing. I'm not. I'm showing up. Whether current Cowboy, former Cowboy, every single day, you're going to see me in a different Cowboys jersey, and y'all going to deal with it. Y'all going to like it. Y'all going to absorb it. Football's back, boys. How about them Cowboys? Bye, guys. See ya. Have a good Labor Day. Safe, happy, healthy, all that stuff.